How many times have you asked yourself this? You work all month, you stay up late, you wake up early. And yet, when the month ends, it's the same feeling of anxiety. Why is your wallet empty when your mind is so full of pressure? And why is it that just one small expense, eating out, an impulse buy, is enough to make you feel anxious and even regretful? Maybe the problem isn't the money. Maybe the problem is we haven't truly mastered ourselves. Saving isn't just about money. Saving is about self-control. And self-control is freedom. If you've ever seen the statue of Emperor Marcus Aurelius on horseback in Rome, it's a reminder of an ancient wisdom. True strength comes from inner self-control. Self-control is strength, a thought often attributed to Marcus Aurelius, implies that the ability to control yourself is the foundation of mental strength and of true freedom. Today, when we talk about saving, most people think of the financial side, cutting expenses, putting money away, avoiding waste. But saving doesn't stop at the numbers in a bank account. Saving is also a spiritual practice, a way to train the soul through discipline and self-control. Since ancient times, the wisest sages have seen saving and simple living as a virtue. We don't even need to remember every name or every school of thought. The spirit has been the same for thousands of years. Knowing how to save, knowing what's enough, is knowing how to cherish and apply every other virtue in life. Ask yourself, why can the act of saving, such an everyday behavior, be seen as a spiritual practice? Because hidden behind the act of saving money is the ability to restrain desire, to win the battle against material temptation, and to cultivate inner peace. When we choose not to buy something we don't need, when we decide to save instead of splurge, that isn't just a financial decision. It's a moment we practice self-control, placing reason above impulse. The Greek philosopher Epictetus, a Stoic, once said, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." That quote highlights a truth. Freedom and happiness don't come from owning more, but from a soul that knows what's enough. When you know what's enough, you're no longer led by limitless desire. You're no longer a slave to external material wants. And in that moment, you touch a new kind of freedom, inner freedom. Today, I want to invite you to think about saving as a spiritual practice of self-control and freedom. We'll explore how Stoic philosophy, especially through the teachings of Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and the simple spirit of Socrates, illuminates the deep meaning of a frugal lifestyle. From there, we'll connect it to real-life stories, everyday examples, showing how saving brings both spiritual and financial freedom. This talk is given with honesty, patience, and feeling, hoping to reach your heart. Because saving isn't just about money. It's a story about a peaceful soul, about self-mastery, and about human dignity. Stoic philosophy, born around the 3rd century BC, it's known for its practical advice on mastering yourself, living with virtue, and finding peace in the face of life's challenges. The core of Stoicism rests on 4 virtues: wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. In this, temperance is the ability to control your own desires and impulses. Stoics train themselves to not depend on pleasure or material wants, because they believe that inner freedom is only achieved when you are the master of yourself. Marcus Aurelius, the famous philosopher-emperor, left many precious reflections in his Meditations. He reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This message means true strength comes from controlling your own thoughts and emotions instead of being controlled by circumstances. When you master your mind, not letting desires or negative emotions pull you around, your inner strength appears, helping you stand firm against any storm. In other words, self-control is strength. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus lived his whole life in poverty, so he understood the value of not depending on material things. He taught that happiness and freedom start by distinguishing what is in our control from what is not. Money, reputation, circumstances. Many external things are not in our control. Relying on them for happiness only brings anxiety. But our attitudes, our reactions, and our decisions are truly ours. And if we can just master those, we will find freedom. Epictetus said it best, "No man is free who is not master of himself." The Stoic spirit is all right there. True freedom is freedom from being a slave to yourself, a slave to your impulses, a slave to your uncontrolled emotions. When desire is tamed, when you no longer make waves in reaction to temptation, your inner world becomes free and steady. Another Stoic figure, Seneca, stressed living simply and scorning luxury. Even as an advisor to the emperor, he encouraged people to occasionally practice poverty, to live on simple food and rough clothes, to realize you'll be fine without the luxuries. And Socrates, walking through the Athenian market, would exclaim, "How many things there are that I don't need." They both touched on the same truth. To reduce desire is to increase freedom. The Stoic philosophers talked a lot about the relationship between material desire and poverty of the soul. A person who owns little but knows it is enough isn't poor at all, while the one who has much but is consumed by endless greed is the one who is truly poor. Because the greedy person lives in a constant state of not enough, always counting what they don't have, instead of being grateful for what they do. These philosophies all agree on one thing: reducing desire, taming greed, is the path to peace and inner freedom. A person who saves, who lives simply, often feels more at peace because they're less bound by possessions or impulses. On the other hand, a person who spends wastefully, chasing pleasure, often loses self-control, becoming a slave to their own habits and things. In summary, from a Stoic perspective, saving is a concrete expression of temperance and self-control. It's a mental discipline that helps you train to control your instincts, to master your desires. Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Socrates, though their lives were different, all shared one piece of advice: simplify your needs, master yourself, and you will find freedom. Once you understand that Stoic philosophy, self-control is strength, you can look at the act of saving money in a completely new light. Saving, on the surface, is a financial discipline. Spend less than you earn. Put money away for the future. Avoid waste. But on a deeper inner level, saving is a daily exercise in self-control. Every time you stand in front of a tempting item and tell yourself, "I don't really need this," you're strengthening your willpower. Every time you get paid, instead of thinking about what you can buy, you set a portion aside for savings. That's you, winning a battle against the impulse for immediate gratification. Those small victories, repeated over and over, build a strong habit of self-control. Here's a familiar situation. You walk past your favorite coffee shop. You're tempted to grab that $6 latte, like you always do. But today, you pause. You remember your savings goal. You choose to walk away. On the surface, you just saved a few dollars. But at a deeper level, you just proved something to yourself. I don't need this to feel okay. I can choose what's truly good for me. That small taste of freedom, compounded over time, builds into a powerful mastery over yourself. Today, you resisted a small craving. Tomorrow, you can overcome a bigger temptation. Like a muscle being trained, your willpower gets stronger every time you save. Not only that, saving brings you financial freedom. And financial freedom is a major contributor to spiritual freedom. When you have an emergency fund, you worry less about an uncertain future. You won't be so stressed if you suddenly lose your job or have an accident, because you have a financial life raft. On the other hand, if you live wastefully without saving, you easily fall into debt, always scrambling to get by, and your mind can never be at peace. That feeling of opening your banking app, seeing a balance near zero, while your heart is full of unpaid bills. That's not just financial pressure. That's soul pressure. Financial stability, earned through saving, gives you the power to choose the life you want. You have more freedom in your career. You don't have to stay in a toxic job just for the money. You have time for yourself and your family because you're not working 24/7 to pay off debt. In fact, movements like FIRE or minimalism are all centered on one simple idea: have enough so you can focus on what really matters. Get your time back for a more meaningful life. You don't need to live like an ascetic. You just need to live with a little less want than you had yesterday. That alone is a huge victory. In real life, we have countless examples of the power of saving and a simple life. Many great and successful people practice strict saving. Socrates, as we mentioned, would marvel at how many things that I don't need. That's still true today. A modern philosopher like Henry David Thoreau once said, "The greatest wealth is to live content with little." Today, many people who practice minimalism have shared their stories. Reducing spending and possessions help them reduce stress and increase happiness. Cleaning out the closet, selling off what isn't needed, doesn't just tidy the house, it unburdens the mind, making you feel lighter. When you own less, you have less to worry about, less to fear losing, and your soul becomes more free. Especially, saving helps us escape the trap of the financial rat race, the endless cycle of earning to spend, and then having to earn even more. Income goes up, so spending goes up. A nicer car, a bigger house, more brand names. But the trade-off is decades tied to a job, to pressure, to debt. The person who saves keeps their spending below their income. When their income grows, they don't rush to upgrade their lifestyle. They invest the surplus or save more. Slowly, they build wealth and financial security. Eventually, money is no longer their biggest worry. They can do work they are passionate about, rest when they need to, even retire early, to pursue a personal dream. That's freedom. The freedom to control your time and your life's choices. There's a great modern saying, if you control your wealth, you'll be rich and free. If your wealth controls you, you're poor indeed. Saving and mindful spending is how you control your money, instead of being controlled by it. When your money serves you, you are truly the wealthy and free one. We have to talk about the emotional side of money. Many people overspend, not because they need the item, but because they're using shopping to fill a void. That void could be loneliness, depression, a feeling of I'm not good enough, or a long, tiring day where you just want to treat yourself, to feel like you deserve it. But the truth is, spending money on emotions might make you feel good for a few hours, but it leaves weeks, even months, of anxiety and regret. It's a dangerous cycle. You're sad, so you shop to feel happy. But before you know it, your wallet is empty and the anxiety is back. In contrast, if you see saving as a spiritual practice, you learn to face your emotions instead of running from them with shopping. When you feel sad, instead of running to the store, you can sit quietly with your breath for a few minutes. Write your feelings in a journal. Call a friend. Take a slow walk in the park. These healing methods don't cost money, but they help your soul find true peace. Saving teaches us to appreciate simple joys. A cup of tea you make yourself, a walk in the afternoon, an evening with the screens turned off, having a real conversation with someone you love. We realize happiness isn't found in the shopping mall. It's found in our own attitude towards life. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." When you practice saving, you slowly shift your focus from the outside to the inside. Less joy from material things, more joy from experiences, from your inner life. Do you know what the most beautiful moment of saving is? It's when you suddenly realize you don't need that much to be happy. And you smile, gently, freely. Naturally, a person who saves will feel more confident and have more self-respect. Because every time you overcome a temptation, you feel proud of yourself. Every month you set aside some savings, you prove to yourself, I have discipline. I can take care of my future. That feeling of mastering your money brings self-respect, a world away from the guilt and shame of overspending. That self-respect fuels more self-control. I did it. I can keep doing it. And just like that, a positive cycle is born. Self-control results, confidence, more self-control. In the long run, the confidence and calm from financial stability, combined with a disciplined soul, will radiate from a person's character. When we meet people who live simply, who save, we often see a calm and peace about them. They aren't anxiously chasing the next trend. They don't panic at an unexpected expense. They move slowly. They have depth. They are willing to share with others because they aren't obsessed with accumulating for themselves. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Receive wealth without arrogance, and be ready to let it go." People who save understand. Wealth is just a tool, not the meaning of life. It's nice to have, but if they lose it, it won't destroy them. That's the ultimate inner freedom, being untied from both the desires and the fears related to money. The philosophy is beautiful, but how do you start today? You don't need to change your whole life overnight. You just need 3 small steps. Step 1, put a little money away every single day. It doesn't matter if it's $1, $5, or $10. The amount isn't the point, the habit is. Every time you set that money aside, whisper to yourself, "I'm taking care of my future self." That isn't just saving. That's respecting yourself. That's not just a small amount of money. That is a promise to yourself. Step 2, delay every non-essential purchase for 48 hours. When you want to buy something you don't truly need, don't forbid it. Just delay it for 2 days. If after 48 hours you still truly need it, you can consider buying it. But you'll be surprised. So many desires just disappear after only 2 days. That's how you beat temptation, without fighting yourself. Step 3, every week choose one desire to let go. Maybe it's one less expensive drink, one less meal eaten out, one less scroll and buy session on an app. Every week, just let one thing go. Every time you let go, you're telling yourself, "I am stronger than my desire." John, from wasteful to in control. John is an office worker with an average salary. Before, he used to spend his entire paycheck every month on restaurants, fashion, and new gadgets. He thought, "I deserve this." But at the end of every month, he was anxious because his wallet was empty, often carrying credit card debt. That feeling of anxiety and stress weighed on him when he thought about the future. What if I get sick or lose my job? Then he decided to change. He started saving. At first, he set a small goal: save 10% of his salary each month. He cooked at home, cut back on shopping, and only bought what he truly needed. The first few weeks, he felt deprived because he was so used to spending. But gradually, he realized he wasn't miserable like he thought he'd be. Cooking at home was healthier. Shopping less gave him time to read or play sports. After a few months, he looked at his growing bank balance and felt a strange new joy. The joy of being in control. He told himself, "I can control my finances. I don't need a luxury lifestyle to feel like I have value." When his company had a round of layoffs, many colleagues panicked. But John was calm because he knew he had an emergency fund to last him a few months. That calmness helped him work better, and he survived the cuts. Clearly, saving money strengthened John's mental resistance, giving him more freedom in the face of change. Sarah, letting go of comparison, finding simple joy. Sarah is a mother of 2, from a middle-class family. On the surface, they weren't struggling, but she was always comparing herself, wanting to keep up. When a friend got a new car, she wanted a new car. When a neighbor got new furniture, she was anxious to upgrade. Because of this, even with a stable income, her family rarely had savings, and sometimes even went into debt. This caused arguments about money. She always felt behind and less than others. One day, Her young daughter brought home a piggy bank as a gift for her. The little girl said, "Mommy, put money in here, so one day we can go on vacation." My teacher said, "If you save up, one day you'll have enough to do what you like." That sentence stopped Sarah in her tracks. She decided the whole family would learn to save together. From then on, when she wanted to buy something expensive, she asked herself, "Do I really need this, or do I just want it?" If it was just a passing want, she waited. The extra money she put in the family piggy bank or into savings. The whole family set a goal to save for a summer trip. The kids excitedly put coins in the jar. Her husband cut back on going out. Saving became a family project, and they all encouraged each other. After 1 year, they had enough money for a memorable trip, without going into debt. More importantly, Sarah realized happiness doesn't come from comparison and a material race. It comes from real experiences and love. By giving up her spending habits, she felt lighter, no longer worried about keeping up. Her family was happier and more connected. The kids learned the value of work and saving. And the financial stress on her marriage disappeared. Saving, in this case, wasn't just a lesson for one person. It was a seed of peace that spread to her whole family. From these two stories, we see saving is like a teacher. For John, it taught him the courage to face uncertainty. For Sarah, it taught her to let go of envy and cherish simple joy. Each story is different, but the common thread is, when they practiced saving, they both felt a new freedom open up. That freedom wasn't just about having more money. It was about mastering themselves and changing their lifestyle and their mindset. And so, the practice of saving is the practice of walking a spiritual path. Our ancestors long praised the virtues of diligence, frugality, integrity, and honesty. Frugality here isn't about being stingy. It's about using your resources wisely, not wasting your own hard work or the work of others. Saving electricity, saving food, is also about living responsibly for our community and our planet. When we consume less wastefully, resources can be shared with more people, and nature is less burdened. Saving, in this way, has a humane and connected spiritual value. We restrain ourselves just a little to be in harmony with the larger world around us. In religion, we see the same philosophy. Buddhist monks value a life of wanting less and knowing you have enough. The Bible advises, don't store up for yourselves treasures on earth, but store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, reminding us that spiritual values are the only eternal treasure. From east to west, from ancient to modern times, all spiritual masters share one teaching: simplify your material life to enrich your spiritual life. Saving is not the final goal, but it is the vehicle that helps the soul ascend. When material things are no longer your chains, your soul is truly free to fly. At this point, we can distill it down to one sentence. Saving doesn't teach you how to keep money. It teaches you how to keep yourself, to keep your peace, to keep your self-respect, to keep your self-control, to keep your own future. Saving as a spiritual practice might sound strange, but it's actually very close to home. In a world that's always pushing us to buy more, to consume more, slowing down and spending less. is a courageous act. It's like stepping out of the rushing crowd, standing still and asking, what truly makes me happy? Am I in control of my life? Or am I just being swept along by the crowd? 3 great truths we can take with us after this talk. Saving, self-control. Every dollar you keep, every desire you let go of, is a moment you reclaim your own power. Self-control, freedom. When you're no longer pulled by ads, by comparison, by impulse, you begin to feel free in your choices, in your work, in your life. Freedom, inner happiness. Freedom isn't just having more choices. It's being free from your own inner conflict, no longer controlled by desire and fear. And then we arrive at one final truth. Freedom doesn't come from having more. Freedom comes from no longer being led by your own desires. The greatest freedom in life isn't having everything. It's being able to look at what you already have, smile, and quietly say to yourself, I am enough. And what I have is enough. Tomorrow you don't have to do anything big. Just start by cutting back on one small thing. But remember, every time you choose to save, you are choosing freedom.